And the question is, this month's client story about the lady with the resolved skin condition was truly inspiring, and what a great outcome. It really highlighted the impact of the change personal history technique on trauma, including sexual trauma. My question is change personal history your go-to technique in case of trauma? No. It's my simple answer.
I knew you were going to say that.
No. Yeah. It depends. Like we've just been talking. You have to excuse the camera wobbling. It's my computer's sitting on my knee. It depends on the person and what they present with. In a case of trauma, I am going to do some kind of timeline thing to take them back, to get them to let go of what's been connected with what went on back there. Is it going to be change personal history? Not necessarily. And I might also combine change personal history with something else if I feel that's what the client needs. That's my simplest answer, because there's an infinite number of things that we can put together to help somebody with their change work. When we do our training, we look at Dilt's physiological levels, and you can actually attach all the individual pieces of the Meta and the Milton model to those logical levels. So when you hear people explain where they're stuck and what they want, for example, if they give you like a complex equivalence or a cause and effect, they're up in the world of beliefs and values. And when you're up there, there are certain techniques that work better to challenge those particular Meta model and Milton model patterns, which give you an idea as to what they're doing in their head, much better than if they were talking to you about a situation that maybe was connected to the environment. In which case, if it was something that was triggered, something that was being triggered, there was an anchor being fired, then you might start with collapsing anchors. It really does depend. And I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for. Do you have anything to add?
I just want to say, yeah. Well, it was a great story, great example, and I think your answer is really just so on point with what we've been talking about. You know, you work with the person that's there. I mean, I think I think it's just human to find things that you like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like preferences, a technique or a style, or some method that you go, actually, I feel really comfortable and competent with this. So I think that's a good thing to do, to become really comfortable and competent with particular techniques. It's also so important to explore others. And I think especially the ones you're not so comfortable with.
Yeah.
I remember there were certain techniques that I don't need to do that. Yeah. Let's keep away from the language pattern stuff. Yeah. I remember that. That was Michael Breen's fault, to ignore the language. He installed in everybody.
You don't need to remember this.
You don't need to remember. What was it? Okay, I don't remember. The labels don't matter.
You can forget the labels. That's what he said.
You can forget the labels, yeah. So there was a whole element at one point of, the linguistic stuff. I just need to give people embedded commands or direct instructors, that'd be fine. So I realized there was a blind spot. So I then went back to that area and really dived into the meta model and the Milton model and the linguistic patterning and meta programs. And to me, the description you gave is brilliant. It's the logical levels with Milton and Metal, but they're all holographic. They're all interconnected. So if there's some work to be done up at beliefs, where did the belief came in? It came through time from some experience in the past, which is probably anchored. So the levels are all interconnected. So first of all, wouldn't it get boring if your default setting was to go to change personal history? It would get boring anyway, doing the same old. And what happens if the way you do change personal history wasn't effective with that particular person? for whatever reason. Yeah. I think it's the core of what we teach. For me, it's the core of what we teach. It's giving people not just a massive toolbox of many things, but a toolbox where they got more flexibility and range than the people that come in to see them.
Yeah, I remember Rich saying, years ago, he said, if what you're doing isn't working, do something else. And in the beginning, I'd be working with somebody and my gut would think, oh, God, this isn't working. And I'd actually hear Richard in my head saying, time to do something else.
Time to do something else.
Or something else out the hat.
Yeah, so, if you've got a blind spot, there's something you kind of a bit adverse to, go back and practice it. If you feel totally drawn to one particular technique, fabulous, master it. But don't then assume that the client that comes in has to endure that particular technique, or it's going to be the technique for them. Yeah,
it's not going to fit everyone. And I must confess, when we do these courses, and I see Richard do demonstrations on the stage, sometimes he does stuff, and he kind of, because you've seen him for years as well. He'll kind of come up with a bit of this,
he'll make stuff up,
and a bit of something else. And I sit at the back of the room and I go, whoa, I really like that. And I'll jot down what he did and I'll map out what he did and I'll just think about it.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind. So the next time somebody comes in with something similar, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see what it does.
Well, I've got a different approach there. I feel, to me, it's like martial arts. Yeah. I can be up here doing something here, but if I move down here and come in here, or move over to here and come here, what I'm doing is the immovable problem.
Yeah.
I'm coming at it from different angles. I'm going to try something here, try something there. That's working. And then when you get something that works, in fact, it was dear old Frank Farrelly.
Oh yeah.
Who, when I came up to Leeds that time, when you had Frank as a guest, and I think you said to have a go at modelling him, and that was pointless. I just came off stage completely tranced, like I thought I was hypnotised by Milton Erickson. But anyway, there was a thing that he said, because someone said to him, "How do you know what questions to ask, what to do?" And he said, "Well, the angels tell me."
Yeah.
Okay, which seemed a bit strange, but he had a voice behind him that told him, because he said, the angels tell me. Yeah. And then I'll do whatever the angels tell me. I'll say it. I don't filter it, just say it. And then if the other person recognizes it, so he's calibrating to another person, he said, it's like I've raised a flag and they've saluted it.
Yeah. And then he keeps down that track. Yeah.
Then he keeps on it. But he's like a Rottweiler and a sheep, isn't he?
Yeah. And there's that word again. Anyway. There's that word again. Calibration.
Yeah. And that's the thing. He's tuning in to the other person, seeing things, hearing things that other people aren't. Advanced sensory acuity, if you like. Let's link it all back to the MasterCLASS. Yeah. Bring it back. Giving something a go. It's not prescriptive. No, that's not gone where I thought it would go. Let's try something else. Look, the person has just their eyes just pupils dilated or something. Or their head's nodding. I'm onto something. Let's pursue that. In fact, that's exactly what Linda Pransky was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was asking questions and seeing something, just following it up.
And that's what Richard does.
That's what Richard does. Yeah. And it's what you do, and it's what we both do that, and that's what many people do.
Questions. Yeah. Here's that word again, we calibrate the response. And of course, if you've got a script and you're following something that somebody's written down for you, you're not watching the person in front of you. So you could miss those little nuances, which will give you the clue you need to let you know you're on the right track or not.
Actually, it just occurred to me, aren't we all always doing change personal history with people? Because the future history is changing if they come to see us. So everything we do is changing personal history. How about that?
Yes, yeah. So in which case, change personal history is my go-to technique.
Ignore everything we just said.
Just forget everything we just said.
Yes.
It may not be that change personal history, but it'll be something like it.